Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Apex Bros podcast. I'm your host, Leander, and I'm joined by
Max,
Cody,
and Rob.
Together, we are the Apex Bros, and we strive to give you the one-stop shop for all your motorsport needs. The racing coming up for this weekend, which we'll preview, are F1 Austria, NASCAR at Nashville with all three series. For dirt, we have High Limit, World of Outlaws, and other USAC events. For this weekend, there will be no endurance racing and no INDYCAR racing. We would like to give a special thank you to our sponsor, Victory Fuel, the best drink on the market for all families. Please use discount code APEX10, APEX10. For our dirt segment, we have Cody Giles, who is our dirt racing... Fuck, no, restart.
that's going in. That's going in.
For our dirt segment, we have dirt racing... Fuck!
Want me to do it? I can do it.
Okay, yeah, dude.
Alright, for dirt racing, we got Cody Giles covering all things dirt, from short tracks to bigger tracks to... I don't know what the fuck. I don't even know what I'm saying, bro. I don't even know where I was going with from short tracks to dirt big tracks. I don't know where I was going with that, dude.
Dude, that's funny. Here, I got it. You want me to do it?
Yeah, if you think you could do better.
Alright, and for our first segment of our show, we now turn it over to Cody Giles, who is our lead dirt racing correspondent, where he will be covering the World of Outlaws and other dirt racing events. So, Cody, go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, man, thank you. I'm new to this shit, so, and I think all of us are. I think all of us are new to this shit, and, yeah, let's get right to it. I'm going to start off by just talking about dirt and what kind of shit is going to be going on from this past week, or, what's going to be happening next week, stuff like that. So, pretty much, this past week, we had Ricky Thornton. They raced at Lernerville this week on Monday for the Firecracker 100. Everybody knows that nobody can touch Ricky Thornton. Ricky Thornton Jr. is just on another level. Everybody's trying to figure out how the hell can they stop Ricky Thornton Jr. And I don't think that there is a way that you can stop Ricky Thornton Jr. Because when you look at the standings, I mean, the dude is just blowing it out the fucking water. I mean, just blowing it out the water. And it don't even matter. They could have damn rocket engines in their damn cars, and it would not matter at all. I mean, the dude is just... He's got wicked talent, and, Ricky, he's probably one of the best late model guys right now. And if you watch the Firecracker 100 this past week, that it just goes to show you how much of a talent he is. So going over to High Limit was probably it was pretty wild, considering the fact that Cole Macedo, he got quick time at Lake Ozark Speedway this past Wednesday, and coming to the feature, he led the opening 12 laps, but could not finish the feature, retiring from the evening on lap 30 from an apparent mechanical issue. Corey Day, I will say this. This is kind of like what I was saying about Thornton Jr. Corey Day is a fucking madman behind the wheel. I mean, look, I'm biased, so like Kyle Larson, I think honestly that motherfucker is a wheel man amongst every single one of them, but I have to give my flowers to Corey Day. Corey Day has shown wicked fucking talent the past, hell, ever since the season started. And I mean, the kid is only 18 years old. 18 years old, and he is willing that shit like he's been there he's willing that shit like he's a vet. And you know, Corey Day, that's going to be somebody you need to watch the next couple of years because he is probably one of the most, wouldn't say profound, but I would say he is probably the most skillful sprint car driver right now besides, I would even throw in Carson Macedo. I would throw in Cole Macedo, but Corey Day has shown that he just everywhere he goes, he's always there at the end. No matter what it is, no matter what track state it don't matter. The dude is just gonna fucking show up. So yeah, Corey Day, he won Lake Ozark this past Wednesday due to what happened to Cole Macedo on lap 30 from an apparent mechanical issue. Uh, Going to World of Outlaws, Bobby Pierce, another fucking awesome name that a lot of people, regard as probably one of the best in World of Outlaws late model series right now. He swept Iowa at Hamilton County Raceway. Uh, he he got it done, man. He got it done, and honestly, it's crazy to think because a lot of people were thinking that Brandon Shepherd was going to kind of be the guy to watch out for this season. But the thing is, though, Bobby Pierce, he is on it. He is fucking on it, man. He cannot be denied. It's literally like I was saying about Thornton, like I was saying about Corey Day. These guys, they cannot be fucking denied. They are taking over all these series. Every single one of them are taking over that series because with how Bobby was, so Bobby had won last week and then he won this past week at Hamilton County Raceway. And literally the recap, it's pretty much, Brandon Shepherd was in command majority, and pretty much Bobby just was like, all right, hold my beer. And he just pulled the fuck away from him. And that was pretty much it. So he got it done. He got it done this week. And honestly, Bobby Pierce is going to be somebody to look out for the championship later this year. Once we get closer to championship time. And so congrats to Bobby Pierce, congrats to Corey Day, congrats to Ricky Thornton Jr. I mean, fucking unbelievable talent. Unbelievable talent. And, hopefully hopefully we'll get to see a barn burner later this season for the championship.
Yeah,
So
and Ricky Thornton with huge points lead over Davenport.
oh yeah.
I think it's over 200 points now. You expect Davenport to be there every big event, week in and week out, but Thornton, RTJ, has been insane in his run for the past few weeks. And even, just like you said, Corey Day, he is having probably the best week of his young career. We talk about young drivers such as Connor Zilish. He can hop in any car and win. Corey Day, he can hop into a late model at Hickory and win. Uh, these young guns that are getting help from Cup stars and Road stars are really excelling. And Corey Day was more than 300 points out just probably a week ago in the High Limit Series and even in the Midweek Money Series. But now Corey Day has closed in both point standings with only being 241 points down on Brad Sweet and 43 points down on Sunshine for the Midweek Money Series. For the World of Outlaws late models, B. Shep, Nick Hoffman, they've been going at it, but these last few weeks, it's like Bobby Pierce has shot out of a cannon. He has really shown the speed that him and his guys have, and it's really really cool to see. It's gonna be a fight to get back up to the B5 and the 9, but I think that 32 can get up there. For World of Outlaws, they haven't raced for about over a week now, and it's definitely going to be interesting with Selzy, Macedo, and even Gravel doing some high limit races here and there. It's definitely going to be interesting who's going to have the momentum coming up at Cedar Lake, which will be happening from the day of recording this tomorrow and Saturday. So it's going to be interesting. Nothing really changed in the World of Outlaws points, as you know, Cody. We had Gravel, of course, leading with 9 wins. Sheldon has 7 wins, but he just can't get that consistency with all those failures and crashes. But Shots, how about Shots back up to second?
Yeah, Donnie, he has shown significant progress in the last month or so. He had a, I would say he had a slow start, but he had a couple weeks where it wasn't in the cards. Like he he would fall back a little bit and then he would gain it back. It was like a pendulum, man. Like he just the pendulum was just either going up or down, up or down. And Donnie, he's gotten back into the groove now. And I think if he continues this, he could have a shot at David Gravel for the championship later on down into later down this year. So I mean, but I wouldn't even say Shots. I would even say like Carson Macedo or Giovanni Selzy. Like, they're Donnie is only 56 behind David, and Carson is only 76 behind David, and Giovanni is only 86 behind David. So, you know, it could really come down to a really big points battle for the championship uh as we get closer to the championship season here in the next couple months.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
so World of Outlaw sprint cars, the points are, I mean, they're close, but they're not really that close. But you know how dirt racing is. Dirt racing, it's very keen on biting everybody's ass. It don't matter how good you are, how shitty you are, it don't matter. It will bite your ass no matter what. So these points can change so significantly that it don't matter who it is. Anything can change from here to when we go racing for the championship later down into the season.
Oh
So,
yeah,
you know, like you said, Gravel, Shots, Macedo, Selzy, uh, you know, they have a huge chance. I wouldn't say huge chance, but I would say they have a really good chance to shake up the championship for the World of Outlaws.
for sure. And a quick rookie shout out to once again Corey Day on the high limit side, and of course Buddy Kofoid still there in 5th despite having some issues. He got that win earlier this year, so he's been pretty much up there in top 10s with the other guys. So it's nice to see him, and he's outrunning Baylog, Howd, and Schuhart. So great stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Uh, Kofoid, I mean, uh, even though it may have been a slow start for Kofoid, considering he's only had that one win from earlier this season, but I think if Kofoid keeps up the consistency, I think he could have a somewhat of a chance to kind of get back into the hunt if he continues to kind of uh, get back that consistency from earlier this past season. So, I mean, anything's possible. The top 5, I mean, it looks like it's only going to be Selzy, Macedo, Shots, Gravel, but uh, with how Kofoid is and how very consistent he can be, Kofoid, I would not write him off just yet.
So I know we were talking about Corey Day. He keeps coming up as an interesting name to talk about in the high limit racing series, and of course in the World of Outlaws. drawing the early comparisons to Kyle Larson at just 18 years old. Of course, we all know he made his debut a couple months ago on pavement and won in his debut race. So, is Corey Day worthy of having talks of him being that once-in-a-generational talent? Kind of like Kyle Larson, kind of like Tony Stewart, Juan Pablo Montoya, just some guys that have gone across multiple series and multiple cars and multiple sports of racing and just winning everywhere that they go. Can Corey Day, at such a young age, live up to those expectations?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, like Corey, like I said, he is 18, man. Like, there's not a lot of 18-year-olds out in the United States in the racing scene that have the talent like that. Like, when you look at, I'll even bring this name up because I should have said it earlier too, but I can't leave him out. But Tyler Courtney, for example, absolutely just is a fucking madman too. Like, he is probably, you got your top fives. You got Sweet, you got Courtney, you got Rico, you got Day, you got Brent, you got even Larson. But the way I see it though is that Corey has raw talent. I mean, plain and simple. When you look at Kyle Larson, for example, I'll even use Kyle Larson, for example. When he was coming up, I would say either between 2010 or 2011, and he started to figure out, you know, uh, he was coming through the USAC programs, and then he was coming through, all these different types of uh, big time races. You know, the talent was there. I mean, the talent was there, but more and more he got into, better seats, better equipment, and everything else. Dude shine. And you saw it from his 2020 program. His 2020 program, if you look back at his entire results from the 2020 season, it is probably one of the best seasons for a dirt car driver ever. You can ask anybody in the garage, and they will tell you that Kyle Larson's 2020 campaign was probably one of the most insane shit that anybody's ever saw. Dude would go, dude pulled, dude did something that, like, Clausen was wanting to do. If you really think about it, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea here, but in a way, I believe Clausen was wanting to do something like that to get to a point where he would, and I'm sure everybody's seen it on Float Racing, the documentary about Clausen. He wanted to do the same exact thing, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But Kyle Larson, I felt like that 2020 campaign that he did was fucking insane. And it was like something that nobody really expected. So my point is on that is Corey Day, I'm not gonna I can't compare him to Larson, or I can't compare him to Tyler Courtney or Brad Sweet or any of them. But what I can say is that he has got raw potential to become something like of Sweet or Courtney or Larson. It's really all going to depend on how he molds himself as a driver and how he develops himself in the next couple of years. If
Yeah,
he
for sure.
if
I
he get
mean,
if he gets to that point though, like if he gets to the point of what, like a huge run, like for example, what Tyler Courtney's doing right now. Tyler Courtney is taking over fucking USAC midgets. He's taking over fucking sprint cars. Like, it may not seem like it, but Tyler Courtney in USAC midgets and sprint cars right now, anything you see him on the track, you might as well just pack up. I mean, he is on it. Now, yes, he's had a couple of races where it backtracked, but dude, that next following week, he's just fucking on it, dominating. So, but to end the whole thing, like, Corey Day, he has got raw potential, and he can absolutely be somebody to watch out for every single weekend. And it's shown every week. Every week that dude gets into a fucking sprint car or whatever, he's always he's literally on it the entire time. It don't matter who the fuck it is, what track it is, he is on it the entire time.
Yeah, and
For
to your
sure.
point, why I don't want to compare, this will be the final point of the dirt segment. I don't think we should compare Corey Day to Kyle Larson because Corey Day is one of those drivers where he won in his first late model race at Hickory, didn't he?
He
He
did.
did.
He went in there and he won. I don't think I've seen anybody do that since, well, Connor Zilish, but them two have been class so far. But for the
But
next segment, we do have IndyCar racing, and that'll be taken over by Max, our IndyCar correspondent.
Hooray!
A huge thanks to Victory Fuel for sponsoring us at the Apex Pros podcast. Victory Fuel, fueled by electrolytes, charged with vitamins, no caffeine or carbonation, and it's kid friendly. Use code APEX10 at checkout for 10% off your order today.
All right.
You're...
So, first off, IndyCar news: Nolan Siegel McLaren sponsorship controversy. So this happened. This released about a couple days ago on X. From what I saw, I think it was like Tuesday, Wednesday. Basically, it's just like Nolan Siegel clarifying the situation about how he took over Theo Pourchaire's seat at McLaren, the number 6 car, I believe. And when they interviewed him about the sponsorship leading to his new contract, he said direct no. Siegel said they were just one of the most commercially successful teams in the paddock, and that's not how this happened, he said. Siegel earned his place, saying I think it was the team principal, one of the team engineer dudes or whatever his name is, I forget. Is the sponsorship involved? Yes. I think it's the nature of the business. There's always some level of commercial involvement with the driver. So I find that's pretty interesting that it wasn't just his talent potential that got him into the seat. It was the sponsorship.
Yeah, and you
from
would
that
think like a
point.
team like McLaren would, have sponsorship pretty much locked up. I mean, Malukas didn't have to bring much, but
He only had to bring
I mean,
himself.
shit.
But we know
Yeah,
how that
pretty
turned
much.
out.
Yeah. But I mean, thankfully he landed at Meyer Shank. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, Siegel is in a tough spot
Dude,
because he's
okay.
getting heat from all sides.
He is. So the only issue I have with this is that it seems like it makes him look like he was bought into the seat instead of like, it being about his talent reaching the teams, I feel like if they had brought him in on talent side, I feel like that'd be a lot more understandable excuse from McLaren. But like, even though the news was literally released like a couple days before they were heading to Monterey, it was like little to no time for Siegel to get prepared for the race. And from the race prior at Detroit, I believe that was Pourchaire's last race with McLaren before he got booted, pretty much. And like up until then, Pourchaire was actually doing pretty good. I think he got like 6th, or he got like a top 10 at least in that race. And I feel like they didn't give Pourchaire enough time to grow within the team, as well as like Malukas, because Malukas, we all know what happened to Malukas. He broke his hand in a biking accident. It took longer than they expected to heal, so they boot him out for that reason. But like Porsche, I feel like it's kind of like an undeserved booting at that point because he had only done like a handful, maybe a handful of races, and he and Ilott had shared the seat at a couple of races, but it's like it doesn't feel fair to Porsche or Siegel to be for them to be both put in this situation because McLaren just like said, all right, well, we don't like you. We don't like, what's happening here in this team. We're just going to try and find someone else to be better than you, pretty much, is what it seems like.
So
Yeah,
do you
'cause,
think
like,
that they're going to try to end up in different rides, or do you think that they might move down back to like Indy NXT or for Indy Lights, or?
Well, funny thing you say that. So Porsche right now is actually getting help from Stake F1 team, which is, I believe, the old Sauber team. And they're actually helping him trying to find a seat for the rest of this year in INDYCAR. Considering he performed well in his McLaren seat, as I mentioned before, there was a lot of controversy around Porsche's race incident with Agustin Canapino's fans, going as far as like sending him death threats to Porsche. So that was the reason why he had to step out of the ride. I think Road America, and that's when Siegel hopped in. So I mean, Porsche definitely has potential to get back into the top level of IndyCar. It's just a matter of how much can the Stake F1 team help him out in that, and how much is certain IndyCar teams willing to let him into the ride. Because I mean, he's shown potential, he's shown speed. It's just a matter of what's open right now. Really is the main issue.
Yeah, and like, who would be open? I mean, Dale Coyne will always be open for this year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're
Um,
literally having someone else come in and drive the car for Mid Ohio in the next race.
Yeah, and I just found it really very funny that Siegel ran Canapino's car for a weekend and then basically took Porsche's car for. He got both sides of the beef.
He did.
Played the J. Cole. He played the J. Cole, and he got himself a full ride.
Dude, he had like the best of both worlds in terms of seat experience, but not best of both worlds in terms of like media and stuff like that. But and speaking of that whole Dale Coyne racing thing, they're actually going to be bringing in Toby Sowery, who's making his IndyCar debut at the next race at Mid Ohio, July 7th. He's
LMP2, right? LMP2 IMSA.
Yeah, he's from LMP2 class. He races in the IMSA Michelin Endurance Cup, I believe. And he's been doing pretty good. He's been pretty consistent over there. And Dale Coyne said that he's been keeping an eye on Sowery for quite a while, and seeing how successful he's been for the short amount of time that he's done like some of these races or some of these series. He's obviously shown enough potential to Dale Coyne to have him put him in a ride for his team, pretty much. And
not to mention, like, we've talked about like how he's had a few starts in Indy NXT, and he's had a couple of solid runs there where he's finished in the top 10, where he's made select starts. Do you think that this might be a test to see if he moves to Indy NXT next year?
I mean, I don't think he'd be moving to NXT because he's been there like for 3 different years. He's been there in 19, 21, and 23. So he's had experience running, not at the track, but like running that series for those 3 years. So I mean, like, if he does well, I believe he can get himself in a potential ride at the end of the season, if not a full-time ride for next year. And if nothing comes at the end of the season, I mean, he can probably just keep doing what he's doing in the LMP2 class in IMSA and just keep going at it, improving his road skills with that type of race car, because LMP2s are kind of similar to Indy cars with like the downforce and speed. Obviously, the LMP2s are fendered cars, more like sports cars in that respect. But I feel like there's going to be an interesting learning curve he's going to have to do. He has to get accustomed to at Mid Ohio, considering he's jumping over from LMP2, which is like main cockpit, I believe, cars with fenders, to an open cockpit car with an aero screen and no fenders, and it's just wheel contact. So he's got to be careful. with his racing etiquette. But I mean, I'm interested to see how he's gonna do. Honestly, I think if what he's shown, like he's had what top 10 each time he's been to Mid Ohio, in NXT at least.
Yeah,
If he's
and he has a podium too, I think.
yeah,
P2.
if he's able to show that pace and that strength in IndyCar, there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be able to get a ride at the end of the season or a full-time contract for next year for my Dale Coyne.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and he has relations to Hunko's, so that's also another, because I know he did 2021 like most of the season for him.
That's true, yeah.
So that's also super interesting, and I know we talked about IndyCar silly season with Porsche, Siegel, and all that stuff shit going on.
Yeah.
We got the new team coming.
Oh,
just
dude.
tell us more about that.
Dude, Prema. Oh my gosh. So I was taken back when I heard this rumor, I think like last week when it came to fruition or it started trickling around. But Logan Sargeant it's a rumor, but Logan Sargeant's going to be a key prospect for Prema Racing's main driver for IndyCar next season. Logan Sargeant is rumored to be out of the Williams ride by the end of this season, like once this season's over in F1. He's gonna get the boot pretty much. It's to be heard of who's gonna be taking his place in Williams, but
we'll get more on that later.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a lot of information out of that. But man, me personally, I'm excited to see Logan Sargeant IndyCar because not only is it just another American in IndyCar, but like he's gonna have a better
former F1.
Not only that, but like he has a better shot at getting wins or podiums in IndyCar because with IndyCar, the competition is so tight and it's so close that he could literally be running 15th or he could be starting 15th, and due to strategy, he could go up to top 5 contention in a race, depending on how Prema does and what engine manufacturer they go with. I don't know if they're going to go with Chevy or Honda, but
I think they're confirmed Chevy. Yeah.
Okay.
And remember, Hunko's getting McLaren getting rid of that partnership.
Alliance,
McLaren might little help to Prema, even though they don't. I know the owner said that he doesn't want too much help, but I mean any information is good. Get that stuff sorted, and yeah, it's exciting. Us American fans can meet our F1 guy from the past 2 years. Because fan access in IndyCar is god tier at the moment. So,
yeah, dude.
So yeah,
it's crazy the fan access, but yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see how that's gonna play out. And also there's hints of talking about Callum Ilott joining the team, considering he raced for Prema in 2019 in F2, I believe. So I mean there could be that coming out in the next couple of weeks if we listen closely, but.
I mean, fuck, that would be exciting too. You get those two in it.
That would be insane.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, 2 former drivers for Prema and IndyCar. That would be insane. That would be awesome.
I mean, and not to mention, like, you got to think, like, Logan Sargeant, with the F1 series being strictly road and street courses, he's going to be able to not only do road courses and street courses, but he's going to have ovals. So there's more of a variety of tracks where he could do well at and succeed.
Yeah.
And speaking of ovals, I heard we had some testing at Iowa.
Yeah.
Oh boy, big controversy.
Oh, dude. So from the little bits I got from the clip today that I listened to from Award, so IndyCar was doing testing today at Iowa for the hybrid engine and the repave and wanted to.
Okay.
The tire test, yeah, the tire test as well, I believe. I think they're doing hybrid as well today.
So much shit going on in Indy.
There's so much, yeah. But they're doing a lot of testing today at Iowa. Pretty much what O'Ward had to say about Iowa is that it's faster with the repave. He doesn't think it'll be more entertaining, but it'll be a cooler experience with the hybrid engine, I believe. Or I think he was referencing the track repave, just because. It's faster. I mean, not only that, but he was saying with the tires is not really that much degradation, not much fall off with what they tested there. But another issue.
It's gonna be difficult to rubber in that second lane, and it's gonna be.
And not to mention, it's kind of crazy to think about. IndyCar and NASCAR kind of having sort of the same problem with their short track and their their tires and the way that they're having to run the track. Like a lot of similar issues, like single lane racing. Like then you're going to have to account for a lot of dirty air. Like how much is the push to pass going to affect the racing?
Well, I feel like with that, with what IndyCar does different than NASCAR with testing at the track is they purposefully try and rubber in the second lane because during the testing today, for the most part, the second lane wasn't working. Like it was unusable for the most part, according to awards comments. And so they purposefully like make them run the second lane. They do this like any oval track. Like last year at Texas, they I think when they did practice, they did highline practice where they specifically had the cars and drivers go to the high
Yeah.
lane to try and widen that groove to provide more racing
Yeah.
instead of the single file
Yeah.
dirty air racing that they're going to have. So I feel like if they're able to widen out that second groove, I feel like there's going to be a lot more entertainment in passing. But I feel like the other thing that's going to combat that is the tire degradation and how they're going to be able to fix that. And it's interesting you bring up NASCAR too because like in a lot of ways, IndyCar and NASCAR seem to be in the same boat with the short track issue. I mean, Iowa is like the only really short track for IndyCar, and even that.
Well, of course, Milwaukee coming up.
Yeah, that's
next will be
that's true. But like
true test.
even then, Iowa is a fast track. I mean,
Oh yeah.
those guys are flying. So I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to be able to figure it out fast. But like, it's going to take a lot of practice and a lot of testing from IndyCar on their tires and the hybrid engine and a lot of things to try and figure out what's going to make a good product at Iowa.
I mean, and not to mention too, like, we talk about short tracks in general, like how they're mainly one or two lanes. You look at Iowa, and Iowa is a track that you could run 3, 4 lanes at. Any lane on the track will work
Well,
if your car's set up for it.
you used to. Before the repave, if it was the old pavement, yeah, there'll probably be like 3-4 different lanes, at least with IndyCar. NASCAR, they stopped going there like what, 2019? I feel like that's a little bit different because I mean they're going a lot slower. The Xfinity cars and trucks mainly went there, but like I just feel like if they were to repave the entire corner completely, like equally, it would definitely provide more options to race, different grooves and everything. But like I feel like what the issue is just having three and a half lanes paved in the corner and just having the old track up at the wall. Just I feel like it's just gonna be there just to collect rubber at the end of the day. I don't think they're gonna be able to use the high groove in those turns, but I mean, it's gonna be interesting. We don't know until we see it, but I'm excited as always to see IndyCar racing. So, and considering I think Iowa or is it Milwaukee gonna be the first oval race of the season? I think it's Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's not the Indy 500. Yeah.
yeah, that isn't the Indy 500. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So you got Iowa, and then I think it's Toronto after that. Then it's Gateway, Portland, Milwaukee doubleheader, and then Nashville.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna be
Back
awesome.
half oval.
That's gonna be awesome seeing them going back to Nashville for the finale. I'm excited.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. Just want to send a quick reminder to check out our website, theapexpros.com, where you can find out more about our guests, our hosts, and find where we store our podcast at. Once again, that's theapexpros.com. Back to the show.
Oh yeah, for sure. And next topic, of course, endurance racing. Me, Leander. Hi, I am your I am your endurance racing correspondent here. Again, no race for IMSA or WEC this weekend. Not for another couple of weeks. News coming out. WEC has essentially given up on using the LMDH spines for the new LMP2 regs. So it's going to be its own standalone thing. It got approved by the manufacturers and all that fun stuff. Hypercar regs until 2029. That keeps IMSA and WEC at the same timeline pretty much. Big news for WEC, especially for Le Mans. Hypercar teams mandated to 2+ car teams. So I don't know where that puts AF Corsa, like their private team, and then their Ferrari AF Corsa 2-car team. Depends on how they will see it because I know they were thinking about going to IMSA and Sebring, and then now this news came out, so it's going to be difficult to see what happens. Aston Martin, they're coming out with the Valkyrie GTP LMDH car, and they were originally going to do one team, but now they got two teams for WEC, and then IMSA's up in the air. It does seem kind of weird that they did the two-card minimum because IMSA doesn't have that, and then you have all this competition, but also unity in the two series. But yeah, and Isata Frashini will have to add a car, which I'm not sure if they can because they're tight budget, they're brand new, they got a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, but
Yeah, and
yeah,
I was thinking about that too. Like, you have the teams here, with the mandate of 2+ cars. There's teams like that don't necessarily have the funds to just up and start a second team or have a second car like that.
yeah, because you don't see like I personally from my friend's experience and learning about endurance racing at the beginning, Glickenhaus was one of those teams, but that team was just run poorly. But
Glickenhaus?
Isotta Frashini was, yeah, Glickenhaus, yeah,
I.
it was definitely interesting.
Okay. That's just like I just heard. I was like, that I've never heard that name before in like any series at all.
Oh, good, good. No, don't look up Glickenhaus. Everyone, please do not look up Glickenhaus or the owner, please. Thank you. Glickenhaus, please don't sue me for my remarks.
What's wrong
Anyways,
with Glickenhaus? What did you do?
oh, it was just a poorly run team. I mean, it was a disaster.
I was gonna say, it's like, did he do some like heinous crimes on the track or something like?
More like heinous opinions, but we will move on. We will move on.
And speaking
Okay.
of, we were talking about manufacturers.
Yeah, Hyundai. Big up Hyundai. Their engines will probably blow 2 hours into the race, but no, just joking, just joking. Hyundai are mulling a LMDH/GTP endurance program. Good to see new teams coming in. Mazda, please join. I would love Mazda to come back, please. I beg. But Hyundai, great job trying to get into it. Kind of sad we don't get that Audi plan, but having more variety helps. But I mean, big driver announcement this week was Pippo Durrani leaving Action Express Racing. He's been there for I don't know, like four years now, 4 or 5 years. Won championships. He's been there.
Damn.
He's like
So
the
that's
only source
like
of merchandise.
that's like that's like Dale Earnhardt leaving RCR and going to like Hendrick Motorsports or something, or just leaving RCR in general. Like, he can't imagine that. He's like
I
he's like
always
their
thought
franchise
Pippo would be
driver.
like, yeah, no,
It's like,
Papo, oops,
Pippo Durano.
Papo Durrani, no, Pippo is insane talent. He really is super good.
and you had to think,
Definitely.
when Action Express brought him in, several years ago, they thought that he was going to be, kind
They're
of like,
forever. They're forever
yeah,
love.
they're Jeff Gordon to Hendrick Motorsports. Like, he was going to be the cornerstone and the backbone of the team. And now you have such a gap going into that next season. Like, has there been any announcements on who might take over or any where Pippo might go himself?
I mean, I'm just surprised Pippo didn't sign the wedding papers at first. I mean, jeez. I mean,
Yeah, no, I
if he's
mean,
gonna be there for that long, might as well.
yeah, and the streets will never forget Durrani and Nazar as a group. Anyways, where will he go? No real leads right now, but just off the bat, Meyer Shank, coming in with a banger of an announcement. Thank God they're back. Praise the Lord. Meyer Shank, you beautiful man. Men. There are two of
Men,
them.
no, there are two of
Jim
them.
Meyer and
There's
Mike
two of
Shank.
them.
Jim Meyer and Mike Shank. Sorry. No, but beautiful men. They are. They might sign Pippo Durrani. I know Honda would love to get him into the fold for possible WEC Le Mans stuff going on. But yeah, who'll replace him? That's a bigger question. Aitken, he'll become the lead driver most likely. But yeah. I mean, they could get Sims back. They could do anything. I mean, it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens. I think Blomqvist was rumored because he did the Rolex, but I mean, he's gonna go back to
But
NSR.
what about Aitken though? Hasn't he been
Yeah, yeah,
like in
Aitken.
top prospect for quite some time now?
Yeah, and he's raced with them for the endurance this year. I think he might be full time, but
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say,
think
isn't
he
he? I
becomes that lead driver.
was gonna
Like he
say,
becomes the guy.
isn't he with like another team or something like that right now? What team is he racing for currently?
Well, right now he's with Action Express and he,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
he helps out, but
Yeah.
I think he becomes the Pippo Durrani. Like he is the replacement, and then they'll have to find another Chevy prospect. Or I mean, hell, you could put since Zilish is only however many years old, he's only like what 17.
Dude,
If he doesn't do full time next year, put him in there. See
I
how it goes.
I feel like no matter what road series or asphalt series you're talking about, I mean Zilich is always in the conversation, dude. I mean,
Oh yeah,
no
I
matter
mean,
what, he's everywhere.
yeah, exactly what Cody talked about Corey Day. Fucking Connor Zilish is that guy on road pretty much and an oval.
He's like the Kyle Larson of road.
Yeah, pretty much when you think about it. I mean, like he was Connor Zilish is low key. Don't hate me for this, audience, please. But Juan Pablo Montoya, we know how good he was in open wheel, how good he was in endurance, road stuff, everything. He came to Oval, he was okay. Yeah, jet dryer, whatever, haha, funny. But he did win the road course race. He did do well, but I think
He almost won
Zilish can up it.
Indianapolis a couple times too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
was it
Dover.
2010? He won. He almost won
2010 and
Indy.
2011,
Yeah,
both.
Yeah. And
back to
then Dover
back.
2013, I still hate the officials for penalizing Jimmy Johnson. Y'all are
Oh,
frauds. Anyways,
dude. And
yeah,
also, even then,
Brett needs to get his ass out the tower, please. Thank you.
even then, Montoya didn't get the win. So I mean,
Yeah, yeah, unfortunately.
It's just
Oh,
one of those
also.
things like
Oh, go ahead.
it's just one of those things where guys like Pablo Montoya and Franchini where they just expectations are set too high.
Yeah, but at least JPM got the win. I didn't expect much from Franchitti at the time, but yeah. But anyways, Ferrari dominated Le Mans as we all. United Auto Sports, big dub. My boy Joy Garg, Indian brother, love to see it. Nolan Siegel probably got that McLaren ride because he won Le Mans. And big up Ollie Jarvis, my British brethren. Well done. Legend of Meyershank. But yeah, Ferrari dominated Le Mans. They could have had a win at Bahrain, I believe, but Ferrari strategy, big pain. Peugeot struggles again. I don't know what they're gonna do. They put a wing on it, didn't work. I know that's gonna be tough for them. How can they fix performance? I don't know. I mean,
Do you
it's
think they're
like,
going to? Do you think they're going too experimental with the adjustments they're trying to make?
oh, 100%. They're so far behind. Like they were good in Bahrain and good in uh some other races, but they weren't like, Ferrari, Porsche, or Toyota level. Like they were like battling mid to low pack, which it's Peugeot. They should not be struggling that bad, but you know.
well, okay.
And then
So,
to
Well,
what's the history of Peugeot at Le Mans, or just in endurance racing in total? Like, what is the
I
significance
mean,
behind the Peugeot struggles with Ferrari, or with Peugeot struggles in endurance
Le
racing?
Mans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Peugeot is such an iconic French brand, and
they've been a staple for a long time.
yeah, I mean, Jean Todt, I believe is how you say it. He started this like 40 plus years ago, and rally, Formula One, everything. But for WEC, they did the Intercontinental Cup, I think, for Le Mans, and I think it was first in the standings for like 2 years, and LMP won, and then yeah, they won Le Mans in the Peugeot, which is a French brand, French track. I think they had a good lineup for that. I don't remember specifically, but I know the lineup was pretty fucking good. They, I mean, you look at the people who've driven like Jean Alesi, Heidfeld, Trulli,
So like
Ralph
former.
Schumacher, Fisichella,
So,
Brundle. Big up Martin Brundle.
so you got like former F1 drivers in this team for this car.
They used to race. Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah.
history is there. It's just the speed right now is not for whatever. It's kind of like Alpine, how they struggle as a French team. It's very similar.
Do you think it's a downforce issue, like a with that team? Do you think it could be a downforce issue as to why their performance is so like really terrible?
Yeah, I mean when you think, great question by the way. Holy shit. They focused on building the fucking car without a wing. Like, cool experimental shit. Yeah, cool, whatever. If you
Yeah,
don't have a backup plan, it's like, bro, what are you doing?
but you also have to think too that like a track like Le Mans or Circuit de la Sarthe, you have to think that like the majority of the track is long straights, you know?
Yeah, with those few little sections, yeah.
Yeah, with the little sections, but with that kind of experiment, you don't want to just go out like when you're when is Le Mans? Like when is that?
Like a couple of weeks, months, I don't know.
Couple weeks.
No,
Okay, so
Le Mans already happened.
Already did. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it just
Yeah,
happened.
oh,
yeah.
I was like, dude,
Oh,
Ferrari
man.
literally just
Oh,
won
man.
recently.
I was like, did you not hear? Like,
Nah.
it was literally like what, 10
apparently,
days ago?
apparently, I've been living under a rock over here.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah,
living under a
Patrick
rock.
Starr over here.
Oh,
What is Le Mans?
Well,
No, but
well,
yeah, it's very interesting to see how they decided to not go with a rear wing, and then they're somehow slower on straights.
that's
I
crazy.
I just don't understand like the decision to do that. Like
Yeah,
especially for a big race like that, you would think that, hey, we're just gonna, leave it like it is and we'll see what we can do later. But I mean, at a track like Le Mans, you always gotta really I guess you have to really prioritize downforce rather than, try to experiment shit that may actually hurt you rather than better your, team,
yeah,
which I don't agree, which I don't
yeah.
agree with that.
I don't agree with their state of mind, so it's just whatever. I mean, they gotta figure it out. It looks great on a Lego, but it does not look good on track. It does not look good on track. It
Well,
was like the
hold on.
McLaren from
What
like
if
2 years ago.
what if they put the Lego version of it on the track? What?
It would probably go faster. If we're being
Hey,
real, less weight.
yeah, I was
less-
gonna say it's lighter. It's
Yeah.
lighter than the actual cars, so it'll probably be faster.
Oh yeah, 100%. Switching to a couple of quick topics here. As I said earlier, Meyer Shank, 2 GTPs for 2025. Acura, of course, with that reunion. While Wayne Taylor Racing Andretti leaving Acura. Let's be real. Everybody knows they're going to Cadillac. It's gonna happen. It's kind of like Chase Briscoe going to Joggers Racing, which we'll talk about.
It's like the worst
ooh,
unkept
foreshadowing.
secret. Worst,
Oh.
worst unkept
Oh.
secret of all time.
Yeah, pretty much. And
Hey,
yeah,
don't
over to
pull a Bill and
NASCAR.
take my topic.
Yeah.
Okay, I want. On to NASCAR, we got Rob Dillon with the NASCAR correspondency.
What's up, everybody? Before we get into the big stories, just gonna go over a couple of items that broke today on the interwebs. Logan Bearden is going to be making another start in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He's going to be driving the 35 Chevrolet for Joey Gase Racing. A lot of word in the garage and with reporters is that they were happy to see him get another opportunity, and hopefully he can do pretty well.
That is a
At
beautiful
Nashville.
man from Leander, Texas. Big up Leander. That's my name. It's my city. I live in Tampa.
And
but
England
Leander's
is my city.
I'm not that big.
Gosh. Okay, so what's the background on Bearden? So we know he's done a couple of races prior in Xfinity Series. What's his background? Is he asphalt, dirt? What is he all about?
Pro modifieds, local short tracks, your usual. I mean he also did karting. kart races and snowball derbies
So
and
yeah, he's definitely got like a Ryan Newman type background if you think about
Okay,
it.
yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Well,
pretty much.
I hope he does good. I mean, Joey Gase Racing is not the best equipment, but it's also a good opportunity for him, for a guy like his caliber, just to get seat time and learn the Xfinity car if he does like full time later in his career. And I
Definitely
just,
so, and with Nashville being such an unpredictable track
oh, dude.
at times,
I mean,
you have to. If he can keep his car clean, he might be in line for a top 15, top 20 finish.
I mean, not only that, but it's also I feel like Nashville is a interesting track to get your first or one of your first starts at, because it's a
Yeah,
it's a all concrete track, and it's kind of an awkward track to race at, if that makes sense. I mean, yeah, the groove may widen out with the Xfinity cars. I mean, we see in the past, if it's a slick track, the groove is going to widen out. So it's going to be interesting to see like what Bearden can take from his past experience in Xfinity and modifieds and apply it to a concrete mile and a half, or however big this track is, I forget, and just apply what he knows and to see how well he performs in that 35 car to his best ability.
yeah,
So
and he's
yeah,
coming off that withdrawal for New Hampshire because of the weather and that
Oh
shit
yeah,
happening. So
so
good, he gets a
it's
chance next week.
yeah, that's for
definitely
sure.
so. And speaking of Xfinity Series debuts, we ARCA Racing Series West driver Kyle Keller, no relation to Jason. He's going to be making his first Xfinity Series start with MBM Motorsports this September at the Glen. Kyle currently sits fifth in the current ARCA Menards West points, and he's got, in 4 starts, he has 3 top 10s, with the highest finish of 7th coming just a few weeks ago at Sonoma.
The Jason Keller was crazy. That was amazing.
I was like, wait, it didn't even ring the bell until you said his name.
Yeah, that was definitely amazing. That was
That was
great plug.
great. Yeah.
Jason Keller, please come on the podcast. We'd love you to have you.
So we're going to move focus here. We're going to stay in Xfinity for this one, but it's arguably the biggest story that got leaked today.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm sure, as you guys
Gosh.
know, Ty Gibbs replacing Eric Almirola at Charlotte a few weeks ago due to personal reasons. However, we found out that that's not the case. He was, in fact, suspended from Joe Gibbs for
Let's
an
be personal.
incident for a physical incident that took place with Bubba Wallace.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Oh, when I first heard about this, it was like, okay, that's weird that he's not in the car. Like if he's scheduled for the race and he's not there for physical,
Thumbs up.
yeah, sums up. Especially when you have to put Ty Gibbs like unscheduled into a Xfinity car like last second. That's not a good sign. And then I remember, I think that same week, or within that same time frame when that news like kind of came out, someone said like it was a physical altercation with Bubba or Almirola or something like that, and I was like, really? That got him suspended? Or like how? Like did Almirola had to do something really, really big to Bubba to get suspended for that amount of time? And
Yeah, it's very much a surprise because Almirola's family man. He's
dude,
chilling with the bacon.
Not
He's
only
got
that,
he gets a sponsor.
but he's not really known to be a fighter. I mean,
Yeah, except for that Bubba shoving match at Charlotte.
well, that's what I was gonna like reference too. I saw earlier on X, like there's a video of when Almirola shoved the hell out of Bubba on pit road during the rain delay. But like other than that, I don't remember. I can't remember the last time Almirola got into like a physical like fisticuffs like altercation with someone.
Yeah, no, and especially it's
it's
weird if it's in JGR,
Oh,
the literal like
yeah,
Definitely.
it's within the team.
office,
Yeah,
which is crazy.
like,
And, Eric Almirola, we talk about it. Eric Almirola retired from Cup, came to Xfinity part-time, and, he finally was able to get that win where he didn't
Or
get subbed out of
JGR,
the
yep.
car. Yeah, he didn't get subbed out of the car for Denny. He didn't have to worry about sponsors politicking their way.
He definitely
He
got it this
that.
time.
He got that win. He looks to be arguably the best part-time driver that they have. What do you think, in his absence, for the drivers that are at JGR on the Xfinity level, not having that veteran presence there, what do you think that does to them?
I think it hurts.
Yeah.
I think it hurts. I mean, we see it with, in my opinion, like, I may not like Sheldon Creed a whole bunch in the Xfinity car, but he has the speed to win, but he can't get over that hump. Whenever he raced with Almirola, raced clean, he used to help him, Chandler Smith, and hell, even Taylor Gray when he came into that ride for a couple races. And you could see it. You could see that most of the cars, except barring some Creed DNF because of mechanical shit, you could see the improvement because veteran presence always helps,
I mean,
especially if you have Morgan
yeah.
Shepherd. But
I mean, without a doubt. I mean, Almirola could like literally be mentoring the next group of Cup stars, and we don't know if like how well that's gonna play out because he's not in the team, he's not in the car helping these other young guys in that team, and I feel like Leander said, the whole team's gonna suffer because they're not getting that veteran experience, the veteran mentorship, to help them understand these cars and how to race cleanly with these cars. Most important of all, because I mean, we've seen a couple of guys, especially in the JGR camp, not have the best showing in terms of racecraft at certain tracks, and
especially the teammates,
yeah.
the teammates.
Oh my gosh, that JGR on JGR like crime
Violence.
it's insane. It's insane. Like I feel like if
you
Almirola,
would think they are like rivals.
yeah, exactly. Like throw the whole total team control BS out of the window. Like that's long gone if Almirola is not there anymore. Like Almirola teaches, he disciplines these guys. Like it's like this little like his own children almost, if in a way.
Yeah,
and
it's ironic.
It's like how Allgaier's the veteran mentor for Junior.
Exactly. That's like how it works for like almost any other team in Cup, Xfinity, and trucks. Like you got Crafton. Like Crafton's probably not a good reference for that.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, it makes sense.
It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the
like
veterans.
Crafton and Sauter for Thor Sport.
Yeah,
at one point in time.
It's like the veterans are just teaching these guys from their past mistakes, from the veterans' past mistakes, like teaching them, hey, don't do this, do that instead. So I feel like,
I mean, it is ironic. It is ironic though. Matt Crafton gets into a fight last year.
Yeah.
And now Almirola get into a fight. We got the veterans. I'm Kyle Busch. Like,
oh my gosh.
So we covered all three series with that one.
It's definitely the changing of the guard in terms of the veterans to the youth. But what we've heard from briefings and from rumors I've heard from sources that Almirola will be back for JGR July 20th at Indy. So that's going to be a big race, not only for JGR, but for Xfinity as a whole. One of the cornerstone tracks of NASCAR. So it'll be good to have that veteran presence back in the garage for Indianapolis.
Yeah, I almost tripped out. I thought it was the road course. My bad.
Yeah. Well,
I was like, wait a second. Oh no, it is the oval.
They're back on the oval. They're back on the oval.
Also, praise Jesus. Decision. He does get us sometimes.
Also, to add on to the Indy race, they're using the package that they ran, I believe, 2018, 2019. Pretty much like the bunny ear spoiler, big splitter, and pretty much plate package, I believe. They're running that
Ben Kennedy cook. Let Ben Kennedy
I don't know if that's cooking, man. I'm going to be honest. I don't really like the pack racing Xfinity at Indy or Michigan because that's the two tracks I think they're going to be doing those package at during the summer.
What was that one Boyer crew member like at the Phoenix Fight? Turn him loose. Turn him loose. It was Charlotte. It was Kenseth, I think, or whatever. Turn him loose. Yeah. Turn him loose.
Dude, that's what I wish like they would have done. Just have like, can we just have 1 year where we have an actual like normal
we give no
Xfinity
fucks and we just run it fucking mad RPM.
Yeah, just give them like the normal package we run week to week with Indy and Michigan. I don't see the issue. I mean, last year Xfinity at Michigan was probably like one of the top best races of that weekend, aside from Cup. I think Cup was a little bit better, but still, Xfinity at Michigan with the current like downforce package, the whole package, it's perfect. It doesn't need to change. But like Indianapolis, I can kind of get more because I mean I feel like the only big talking point that they have about that package at Indy with Xfinity is the racing or like the 4 wide photo finish for that stage win in like 2018 or something like that. But
Oh
like,
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. And I think it's definitely something like as we get closer to that time, like we could definitely come back around and talk about it again. Like just talk about the different packages.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I
But
guess we
we're
could
gonna
say
go
the
ahead.
Cuban missile hit too hard, unfortunately. But he's finally coming back. He's finally coming back.
Oh
So we're gonna
jeez.
go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and move to we're gonna go ahead and move to the Cup side of things here on the weekend for Nashville. Um, Favorites to watch out for this weekend. Last year's winner, Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain had a very good car and had the blessing of Carl Edwards
That's
to
right.
guide him to that victory
Father
That's
last
right.
year.
He called
Padre
him.
Carl.
He called him to get the win. He was talking him up.
Yeah. And we can't forget about former winners Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott, who have also won there in the other two events that they've had. But it's hard to rule out the absolute role that Christopher Bell has been on the past few weeks.
Talk about
And
a heater.
definitely, and a guy who runs really well at Nashville over the past few years, but hasn't been talked about a lot lately besides the retirement announcement, Martin Truex Jr. He's run
Yeah.
really well. He's been finishing top 5 there, so I got him as one of my favorites. Some sleepers to watch out for. We've got Daniel Suarez, who hasn't
This huge
finished
car.
Suarez has not finished outside the top 15 at Nashville, so it seems like Trackhouse has got a firm staple on grasping Nashville.
That's home track.
Um,
Yep.
Literally, yeah.
Josh Berry's another one. Barry's been very good, and he's been close to winning a couple times this season.
Hendersonville,
Rob-
baby.
Yeah, he's from Tennessee.
Hendersonville.
Oh, dude, Barry's been close, man. He like the last handful of races ever since I think Charlotte, he has been on a solid roll. Like New Hampshire, when he was starting up front in the last restart, like if they would have gotten a better restart, I think Barry would.
Oh, he would have challenged.
He would have
challenged.
moved Bell out of the way, 100%. But like aside from that, Barry has shown he's been outright the fastest SHR car week in and week out.
He's arguably been the best HR driver
Yeah,
that they've had the past few weeks.
most consistent too.
Yeah,
Yes, for
he's
sure.
been big points gained. Big points.
Another
gained past few
guy,
weeks.
another guy that hasn't made waves much this season. Eric Jones has run pretty well at Nashville. Couple top 10s, no finishes outside the top 20. Eric Jones is kind of in a slump with the way his finishes have been. Everybody thought the move to Legacy would actually be really good, especially after I believe it was 2022. Where he had a really good season, and he's hit a slump the last year and a half. And I think if there's any track for him to rebound at, Nashville is a good track for him to rebound, get a good finish at as well. Another
sure.
guy, similar situation, and RCR has been down all year, but Austin Dillon has been fairly consistent in Nashville. Definitely a guy that could be, maybe on the hot seat of his ride. I know it hasn't been talked about, but I mean, I could tie it in with what I was going to talk about later. Andy Petrie retiring. They don't have a replacement for him in the competition role yet.
Yeah, because Rodden's
mean-
only interim, right?
He's gonna be, yeah.
Does this
he's gonna be.
does this fuel the rumors
Uh,
of Gregson going to RCR?
it's tough to tell right now, but I mean, just the way the whole RCR camp has been performing this year, I mean, you can make a case for Austin Dillon or Kyle Busch to be out of those rides. I mean, Kyle Busch obviously has a contract for next year, but
Yeah, Kyle
He
Busch
could-
less scrutiny, but
Austin Dillon, yeah. I mean, considering
it's
he
definitely deserved.
went winless last year, right? He went winless
Yep,
last
winless
year.
last year.
And his only bright spot was 22 with this next gen car. I mean,
Which was barely a bright spot
Yeah.
because Reddick carried him.
I mean, who's to say like his seat is confirmed for next year? Like for all we know, it could be Gregson going to the 3 car for next year.
Yeah, and we know Dillon could be great in the front office if he takes that competition role. He got Kyle Busch there.
Yeah,
He can get Gregson there. He can build that team up and bring it back to the glory days. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, I mean, we've
Like
talked
hey,
about it
Petrie
before.
was good. Petrie was good, whatever. But
Maybe it's
holding
time
Austin
for a
Hill's
change
hand
in
for
the
the whole
office.
I mean,
yeah.
Because Austin Dillon's still young. I mean, he's gonna take over the team someday. Why not start it early?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good opportunity actually. Now that I think of it, but
for
I
sure.
mean, going to Dylan's like his record at Nashville, it's been actually very consistent. From I mean, take away 2021 from Gen 6. From the next gen, the two races that we've done where it's next gen, he's finished 14th and 13th. Last year being 13th. I think it's tough. It's tough to tell what he's gonna do this season because I mean their performance has been absolutely nowhere. Um, I can see him maybe getting top 20 at the very
Yeah.
least.
And that would be a
Yeah.
great day for them.
Exactly.
That would be
I
a
mean,
great day.
as
It
But
needs to
shocking.
be.
You know
It's
who
gotta
else could have a
be,
great day? You know who else could have a great day? This dude, Justin Haley. He hasn't had the finishes because he gets caught up in some other person's shit.
Well, besides
But
New Hampshire, this man's been finishing top 5, top 10.
Dude, hey,
Like
okay.
he
Yeah.
has single-handedly turned our Rick Ware Racing from kind of a laughingstock in the Cup Series
Not kinda,
to a
definitely.
potential,
definitely
like
for
to a potential,
Top 10.
like, hey, this is a team
consistently.
that
Yeah,
if Haley can win,
dude.
like if Haley
this
can win a race, they will not be a round of 16 exit. I'm telling you that now.
No,
I
and with
have
that
full
RFK
faith
help
they would
too.
make it to the round of 12
Dude.
at least.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
RFK help too is definitely paying off.
it
W
is
Brad for that.
It is. I say this wholeheartedly. This is the most beautiful like uprise of Rick Ware Racing I have ever seen in my life. I don't think anyone. If you said Justin Haley is running the 51 car, near
And running in the top 10.
near or around the top 10 2 years ago to me, I would have
On
called
speed.
you. I would have called you absolutely insane. Like on speed, I would have called you insane because 2 years ago, it was not. It was not even like that far away. It feels like that. Cody Ware was backing his car into the wall at Texas, and he wrecked at Texas or something like that, and got injured. And to go from that 2 years ago with the first year of next gen to what they are now is unprecedented. I would have never. I would have never thought this in a million
so.
years.
And
Oh,
I
and
think,
this is interesting.
you know,
This is interesting. Justin Haley, after last week's race, yeah, he only got 8 points, whatever, but he still beat these drivers. The 51 car is ahead of the 31 and the 16 in points.
Yeah, his former rides from literally the year before, colleague.
He is quite literally cooking. Kaz Grala too in that 15 and Riley Herbst, they're both doing
Dude,
great
yeah.
in that car.
I was gonna say, I forgot to add. Yeah, Gralla has actually been doing really solid in the 15 car. Considering he's sharing the ride with Herbst, they have been doing really good with that car for the second car.
Oh,
definitely,
for sure.
definitely.
I
But
think.
yeah, I think definitely Justin Haley has the potential to, and not to mention he's already, he was a hot name in the silly season, to rotate rides, possibly go in the front row, but he's staying put. And I think it's a great decision.
I mean,
We talked about this off stream. I mean, is he the next guy for Roush Keselowski Fenway or Roush Fenway Keselowski when Brad does retire?
you know what I see this being? I see this being shades of Furniture Row Racing and MTJ and Cole Pern go on an absolute hot streak and a tear for two to 3 years in a row. I can see that happening to Haley and Rick Ware Racing, considering he's staying there for next year with the momentum that they have, the performance they have. I can see that happening, and then also Haley doing what MTJ did, merge or front row pretty much merge with JGR and MTJ going to 19. I can see Haley doing that for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and major shout out to Chris Lawson on that 51 team. Major gains. Good shit, brother.
Definitely so. I mean, cannot wait to see what they do for the rest of the season and 2025.
Oh
do
yeah.
not count them out of the playoffs just yet.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go ahead and
I
move
will add
into the.
real quick though, monumental fumble by Colleague. I just have to say it. Monumental. They have been lied to, deceived, whatever the fuck Stephen A said.
Led
They
astray.
have been hoodwinked and bamboozled, led astray. They have absolutely fumbled the bag on a generational talent for them.
Well, I think
But I'm
it's
glad to see him doing good. He's doing better.
it's just
I
a
think it
combination.
was a good bet. Yeah,
It's a combination of good things happen at once.
for sure.
All right,
And
we'll go ahead
speaking
and
about some new stuff, Rob,
Rob.
we're gonna go. We're gonna go ahead and just
go slide on over.
let me just slide up in here real quick.
Whoa, whoa,
Um,
whoa, whoa.
so yeah, so a couple more things, and then we'll wrap up the Nashville conversation. So moving on to continuing with the Cup Series, Chase Briscoe now officially confirmed by Christopher Bell. I mean JGR,
Yeah.
the
Yeah, yeah.
19 for next year, replacing Truex. We know that
Shocker.
Bass Pro
Very so
Shops,
much shocking
Bass
news.
Pro
Never saw it coming.
Shops gonna stay with the team, obviously. Mahindra and High Point, are they going to stay with the team? Or do you think Chase Briscoe will bring over a couple of sponsors from Stuart Haas?
I think Mahindra, if they want to have more exposure in a JGR car, they will. I think they should. It might be too expensive for High Point. I love the High Point people. Shout out Dan, who helps design the High Point cars. Dan Asher Designs. Uh, he has told me that High Point is amazing, and they love supporting Briscoe. So we'll see. But I think Mahindra is the most likely. High Point, not sure, but guys, the JGR sponsorship model, he'll get interstate batteries, Reesers, not Reese's. That's JTG and Legacy. No, yeah, Reesers and what what else do they have? I think those are the main two. He won't have auto owners, of course, because Truex is probably going to give that to Ryan. But yeah, I mean, it seems like Mahindra could follow at least as an associate sponsor.
I
They
mean, you
need
got to
that
think.
exposure.
And you got to think, there was, once Stuart Haas announced their departure, well, Stewart side at least, announcing their departure, and we'll get to the Haas part in a moment. You talk about the free agency, Michael McDowell being the first guy to move from front row to Spire, Chase Briscoe now going to the 19. Like, you
This.
think about like, this is going to tie into my next point, like, is front row running out of time to find a solid replacement for McDowell, and are they running out of time to find a good third driver for their charter?
Uh,
I
I don't think
It
so.
depends. Because you have Todd Gilliland, who's basically turning into Michael McDowell live in the flesh. Um, except for
So does
qualifying, he can work on that, but he is turning into Michael McDowell-esque, and I think Michael has mentored him well. David's done a great job. Everybody at F4M put their faith in him, and he's giving them results. But I do think it's getting a little close on time. They still have time, though. There's still plenty of prospects left. I mean,
Yeah.
what
I
do they
mean,
got? The
it's.
rumors say, what was it, Bianchi or Pacris? They put out a article that was what? Cole Custer was one, but of course he's probably going to go to what we're going to talk about later with
I mean,
Haas.
I,
You
you got
got
Riley
Barry, but
Herbst.
he's probably going somewhere. Herbst 2311 maybe, but also FRM. Gregson's still available. You have Gregson. Sam Mayer's in the Christian Eckes. You got
And
plenty of
and that's
choices.
the thing. And, we'll circle back to that. Gregson being Gregson's probably the biggest free agent out there
oh
right
yeah.
now,
I mean,
Yeah.
and
he's
because
when
of
is he
his
not?
youth and his experience. Besides Briscoe, like, yeah, it just makes sense. Do
Yeah.
you think if FRM misses out on a guy from Stuart Haas, even if it's Ryan Preece, like, if they miss out on a driver from Stuart Haas, do you think their free agency, so to speak, is that a loss?
I don't know.
It depends, because if you say you put Sam Mayer and Eckes, yeah, you'll have young guys, rookies, getting in there. You're rushing them a bit, but who knows? It could work. But
I
I mean,
mean,
I would prefer getting the SHR guys.
if you do put a guy like Sam Mayer in this young, it's better off putting him in now so he has more time to grow with the car and understand it more. Kind of like how,
And at least you can tell if he's doing
yeah.
good or not. Like
I
Burton,
mean,
for
exactly,
example.
yeah. But I feel like me personally, I don't think they're running out of time. I mean, it's literally the middle of summer. Silly season stuff usually ends or goes away around September, August. I mean, somewhere around there, right around where the playoffs start. So I mean, I feel like they got. It sounds like they have enough time, but realistically, they probably don't. But I mean, I don't see him missing out on Gregson or Custer. I mean, we've been hearing a lot about Custer going to 34. I don't know about Gregson going to front row, but if that ties in with RCR though.
It does, but I'm going to counter your point because with Cole Custer, we talked about how I mentioned how Haas is staying in the sport. Haas factory team, which will be a team in 2025 that will run on the Ford support for now. At least that's what the plan is. But obviously, Cole Custer, defending Xfinity Series champion, no stranger to the Cup Series, former Cup Series winner, with Joe obviously running the operation, that Haas ride is his.
Oh, it's 100%
I
his.
don't see them.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
There's no other driver that's going to take that ride.
Yeah,
And
he 100%
presumably they'll
deserves
be
it
in the
because he
double
won the
zero.
championship. He 100% deserves
Yeah.
it because he won the championship. So.
And he's still running well in Xfinity. I think their Xfinity Series lineup, I think they'll keep Preece and try to develop him a little bit more in the Xfinity Series again, or at least have that veteran presence. And then I'm thinking that we might see Christian Eckes in the other Haas ride. I don't know if Christian Eckes is ready for Cup just yet.
Yeah, that's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be difficult to tell who's gonna go. I think Priest definitely gets one of that SHR
Oh yeah. I mean, at
Open
least
cars for
Xfinity. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no. If Eckes moves up to Xfinity, I think it's a massive W for him. I mean, he deserves it. He's been running great. Him and Heim have been class of the Truck Series this year, and yeah, it would be very good.
Yeah. Just a couple more silly season rumors just to bring up. I was talking with Cody a little bit. Josh Berry. Being represented by Kevin Harvick. KHI still having an influence on the sport. We were talking about Josh Berry to Wood Brothers, and Cody, I know you've had some connections with Wood Brothers in the past. Do you think Berry is the right fit for them?
I mean, it's so hard to say because just the amount of talent Barry has. I believe, in my opinion, Wood Brothers, they're a very well organized team. Um, they're trying to get all of the fixings right together, I believe. And I think they need to find their next driver. And I think that driver could be Barry, but it's more or less like it's hard to say at the same time though. Like, I believe that Barry could very well be the driver that they need over there at Wood Brothers.
Yeah,
But
the
at the
answer,
same
yeah.
time, you just don't know. So it's like it's kind of an up in the air kind of thing. But I don't push away as to the fact that Wood Brothers is a very well organized group of guys over there. You know, they're not going through a kind of a, I wouldn't say hardship, but more of what's going on with SHR at the moment with, you know, the team going down and they're selling their, you know, everything's kind of like, moving away, and you got Briscoe going to JGR, and you got, things moving around at SHR, you know, but that's not kind of the thing that's going on with Wood Brothers. I think their issue in lining with what their program is, I think they just need a better driver. In my
And that crew
opinion,
chief, I think.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
I
Rodney
think
coming over too would definitely help.
I
I
think
agree.
that's a good point. I think Childress and Barry have to stick together. I think that's one of the most underrated pairings of
Yeah,
crew chief
and what a
driver
great
on the
pairing
season.
too. Great pairing.
Exactly. So I think, and with that being the case, we haven't talked about Cindric, maybe being on the hot seat, but, Barry going to Wood Brothers, you give it a year or two, he performs well enough at Wood Brothers, Cindric could be out the door at Penske, and Barry slides in and takes his spot.
Because you think about it too, like and this is not a knock to them, so just want to put that out there. This is not a knock to them, guys. But with each team, they try their best to find what is best fit for their team and for their, for their cars. Who has the talent enough to win these races every Sunday, every Saturday, and see who can be well represented for that car, right? So when you look at Harrison, which I'm not, and I'm just going to go out and say, I am not a driver, so I can't understand how, either how hard it is or how very challenging things can be driving a stock car. But you have to understand also too, from a standpoint with when you look at a team like Wood Brothers, you have to understand that you've given chance after chance after chance, and
There has to be a change.
there has to be a change in order for the team to prosper into what you've seen from RFK. RFK has absolutely, and before the merge with Keselowski, I'm going to be honest, they were absolutely fucking ass. They were. Like,
I wouldn't say that per se. I
well,
definitely think them keeping Chris Buescher in the 17 was definitely carrying that
no,
team.
no. What I'm saying is that we didn't see this talent from Buescher and Keselowski until after the merge.
Yeah,
Hear
even
me out.
Keselowski at Penske that last year, it was kind of mid.
Exactly. Hear me out on this. The reason why I say this is because of the fact of, if you look at interviews on why the fuck Roush was so far behind, was because of the fact of they weren't on the same equipment like all these top teams are. They were trying to do shit that was done 16, 17 years ago. So they were so behind on the 8 ball that their performance was absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
But when Keselowski came into our Roush, that whole fucking team went a whole 180. And you seen
Oh yeah.
Keselowski trying to, win him a race. You see Chris Buescher fucking just,
Four
going.
of them.
Yeah, going off.
I mean, hell, he should
You
have two
wouldn't
this year. Technically, he really should
exactly.
have two.
Yeah, and he should have. But here's the thing though, you would have never saw that with the team before. Never.
Oh no.
And I'm not
Except for the odd appearance at like Indy or something from Kenseth.
right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though. I'm not saying that Buescher or Keselowski are, not talent. They're not talented enough to win a race or be in the top 5, top 10, top 3. But it was more on the counterparts of the team that was holding them back.
Yeah.
And I think that is literally the reason why when Keselowski came to RFK, well, Roush, and then which it then is now RFK, that team has absolutely done an incredible job of getting shit back to where it needs to be for that team alone.
Yeah, and
And
Yeah.
we can hope that Wood Brothers do that same thing.
that's what I'm saying. I think that personally,
It's time
it,
for Harrison Burton to
yeah,
probably move to a different ride. Maybe it's time for. I
I don't
think it
think
might be
he'll
time
go.
for him. I think if he doesn't go to FRM or somewhere in like that in Cup, he goes back down to the Xfinity Series for a
That's
little
what I
bit.
was gonna say. That's literally what I was gonna say
Yeah,
because
and it will benefit him.
you saw it with Cole Custer. Cole Custer he had some, rough goings, and so put him back down to Xfinity, and you kind of can see that he's getting back to it. He's getting
That
back
mojo.
to, yeah, he's getting back into the groove. But I don't think you should move Custer just yet. I think you put him on that seat for another year, and then with a better opportunity, he comes up and he gets back in the Cup in a better in a better ride. Which I'm not
I
saying.
just don't see that happening. I don't think they keep Priest and Cup over Custer. That just doesn't happen.
I don't think it too, but you really never know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
kind of like with Briscoe. Briscoe going to the 19. Nobody fucking saw that. Nobody.
Well, except for Christopher Bell.
Oh yeah, except for Christopher.
I mean,
Yeah.
Christopher Bell, what a prediction. And speaking of predictions, we gotta make some predictions for the Cup Series race.
So, just gonna bring this up briefly. We got Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson tied for a regular season championship.
Big
200
shock.
guys going at it with two different ways they got there. Chase Elliott, very consistent, best average finish of the entire Cup Series with a 9.1. Kyle Larson, of course, with 3 wins and has also been consistent. Just
Or at least
just
trying
not,
to.
yeah, just with a few more DNFs or bad finishes than Elliott.
And missing that race.
Yeah, I think this comes down to, who is in the right moment at the right time? How does strategy play out? And both men have won here. So it's hard. It's really hard to pick a winner out of those two. But I think it's going to be a Hendrick guy that wins. And I think Chase Elliott's going to get his second one of the year. I see that number 9 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet in victory lane this weekend.
Good stuff. Cody, what do you think? Who do you think is going to win at Nashville?
Man, it's.
We all know what he's gonna pick. We all know.
But here's
lawyer. No, I'm kidding.
Wait. Before we just jump to conclusions, look, I know I'm a big Kyle Larson fan. I mean, that dude is the fucking man. But I think it's going to be Chastain. And I say this because some odd reason tells me that he could go back to back at Nashville, because that team last year, because hell, I was at the race, and I mean, that car was hooked. It was hooked the hell up. So, in my opinion, I think Chastain sweeps both years.
I think to that point, Cody, is that race last year finished at dusk/night. So track conditions were very different that suited his car. Albeit he had like one of the best cars in the entire race from when it was hot to tonight. But I feel like the difference of weather from last year to this year is definitely going to dictate how at least Chastain is going to do this race.
That is true. And I mean, I've got Chastain, but also at the same time, if he doesn't, if he doesn't do what he did, last week or the week before, I feel like Larson could contend if they have no mistakes and they can hit everything on the agenda perfect. I believe the number 5 will be in victory lane, but yeah, he has had a consistent season, but at the same time, there's been so many errors that can be easily, easily fixed. Yeah. So it could be the 5. And honestly, I could, go with Rob. It could easily be the 9 because Chase has, gotten better. He's, starting to get back into the groove of things. And so it could be a Hendrick. And I wouldn't even fucking roll out Trackhouse too. So those are my picks, but I think it could be a Trackhouse, and I think it might be a Trackhouse, or it could be a Hendrick car.
Max, how about you? Who do you think's going to win?
Well, man, it's tough to make picks nowadays with Cup because of how unpredictable these races are with these next gen cars. I mean, it's It's really weird because they become unpredictable, but they're predictable at the same time. Because when the first year of Next Gen came out, it was easy. It was easy for Spire to run up front because not the big teams didn't have a good grasp on the car. But this year, all we've been seeing is JGR and Hendrick. That's all it's been. So I think it could be one of those two teams. It could be Bell because he's had a really good run this past couple weeks. He's been really strong, consistent. It could be Bell, or it could be like what Cody and Rob said. It could be Trackhouse or Hendrick. But I'm gonna have to pick Ryan Blaney. Actually, Ryan Blaney he's been flying on the radar. I feel like at Nashville, he's been
It's still the best Penske driver of the
exactly.
season.
Exactly. I feel like Blaney could actually be top 5 towards the end of the race, top 3.
All right, and Leander, that leaves you. Who do you have?
Fuck the Vegas odds and the Bucks. I'm going completely different to everybody. Tyler Reddick. Stage 1 winner last year. He had that pit road issue that
That's
took
a
him
good
out.
point.
I think Tyler Reddick can get it done. He had the speed
He
in
did.
qualifying. He had the speed in the race. He could pass. It's just he couldn't get
That's
back on the
true.
lead lap.
That's true. And
He
another
was
guy
there.
that Reddick's been fast there, and it didn't matter if he was at 23XI or RCR. He seemed to run here well.
Yeah, even in Gen 6, he was pretty good.
And like I said, there's guys that we didn't name that could be obvious favorites. Reddick would have been falling into my sleeper category, but you also have William Byron, who, Max and Cody talked about, the next gen car, and Byron statistically has grasped it the best.
Yeah, and also Hamlin. Hamlin is also a
Yes.
great option because he's stage 2
Yes.
winner last year.
For sure.
Oh yeah, remember that one time they were like 3 wide for like 5 laps with Chastain and Truex?
Oh, peak Nashville right there.
That
Peak
was
Nashville.
awesome.
But
You know what was not peak Nashville? Before we move on to Formula One, Austin Hill, Intent Wrecking, Sammy Smith. I see you, brother. Anyway,
So we're going to go ahead and wrap up this section, and then we're going to go ahead and take it over to the final section of our show today, the Formula One.
yeah. Hi everybody, Leander again. Hi, your favorite person. No, I'm
Tisk,
kidding.
tisk,
All of
tisk.
us are great. All of us are great. All of us are beautiful, inside and out. So great news, America. Woo, freedom rings. Chloe Chambers for Haas's F1 Academy team. She won the second race at Barcelona. The first race was won by Abby Pulling. She's great. But big up Chloe Chambers. Massive W for the Freedom Fighters.
First
yeah,
time
great stuff.
we've heard
First
the
win,
Star
yep.
Spangled Banner play on the podium for the race
Yeah.
win. That
Yeah, Leah Block,
beautiful.
you're next, please.
That was
Leah Block,
beautiful.
you're next.
That's what I liked about that. Is just having the Star Spangled Banner and actually being able to hear it on the podium.
Oh yeah, Jack Crawford and Leah Block, you're next. So in other news, Logan Sargeant set to leave Williams, as Max covered in the IndyCar segment. Does Carlos sign?
The sign.
Oh, yes,
of
sign.
Yeah,
signs.
the sign. Yeah. I do not think, unfortunately for Williams, I don't think Sainz bites on the Williams bullet. I think that late jump by Alpine will be where he lands. Pierre Gasly just signed on today, as we're recording this on the 27th.
Well, I
He
mean, you
just
got
signed.
Audi. You got Audi as an option as well.
Yeah, but
I feel like that's gonna
it
be
depends.
it's gonna be iffy to see how well they are.
Yeah, because remember, Sainz wants to be competitive, and Sauber and Williams for next year are not going to be very high on the grid. Alpine is mid tier, but they're not as bad as Williams, Sauber. I love Williams, love Sauber, but they just don't have it. I think Sainz doesn't bite the bullet. He goes to Alpine, tries to help that team come back from the depths of the non-points battle. But yeah, sprint weekend this weekend for F1 Austria.
Austria. Oh my god.
Red Bull Ring. Spielberg.
This-
Great stuff. Is it
Austria.
Salzburg or
It seems
Spielberg?
like-
It's Spielberg. It's
Spielberg,
yep.
yeah, dude. Austria,
Yes.
Spielberg, the track, Red Bull Ring is like literally like the best track in all of F1
Goat.
calendar.
And
Goat.
That in
speaking of it
Brazil.
being the best, speaking of it being the best track, it could be the most competitive race that we have all season.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got 4 teams in contention. You got McLaren, you got Red Bull. Ferrari does have some pace that they are finding. They could be a factor. Mercedes too for a podium. Maybe not for the win, but for the podium. Fernando Russell. I mean, he had the amazing start. Channeled his inner Fernando Alonso. Lewis won't like that. He channeled his inner Alonso for that start at Barca. He
Oh yeah, I didn't
very
see
good
that.
start. Yeah,
All
no,
I-
he literally made a 3 wide move on the outside, took the lead, and boom. He got past
Wait,
eventually, but still great.
Fernando did that?
No, George Russell
Oh, Russell did it.
channeled his
Oh, okay,
inner
okay, okay.
Fernando.
I was gonna
That's why I
say
said Hamilton would be a little sussy,
I was gonna say
but
I don't remember Alonso being in the front row. All I remember is like
I wish it was
Russell.
Alonso. Anyways,
Dude, yeah.
yeah, Mercedes could have some pace for podium. It's going to be interesting to see if they try to do something with strategy. Ferrari strategy, not their strong suit, of course, but I hope they also have. For the greater good of motorsport, we just want to see a good battle. 4 teams would be. But yeah, we did see on Twitter that VCarb may drop Danny Rick, unfortunately, for Liam Lawson. Fortunately, why I say those two as a big conundrum and basically the opposite of each other. Danny Rick, we all love him, we all care about him, great dude, great racer. It's just he has not had it. Jacques Villeneuve was very strict with his words, very harsh.
It wasn't harsh. He blasted his ass.
Yeah, no, he did blast him.
Dude.
Yeah. It was very bad, but I mean, there is a little bit of truth. Danny Rick just has not had the pace. I love him. I love the Honey Badger, but he doesn't have the pace. Liam Lawson is there in the wing. He trusted in Helmut Marko. He wants that ride to prove himself, and I think he already has in his limited starts. So I think I agree that you should put Lawson in. Maybe not right now. Maybe wait for a couple of races, put him on a little easier tracks, stuff that he's raced on before. Suzuka, one of them, he would enjoy. But yeah, no, it's Danny Rick definitely lost some mojo after Montreal. He dropped from fourth to I think eighth, and that kind of pissed him off a little bit to say the least. Still a good points gain for him, but
Get it?
man, it's just he just
Well, I
can't
mean,
match Yuki.
He lost some.
You know-
He lost some. He lost some.
But
Lost
he
some
would
mojo.
definitely be a highly sought after free agent for guys like you talk about Haas and Mercedes, who are looking for guys. He could be a valuable asset if they drop him.
Yeah, Mercedes, it's gonna be difficult for him. Maybe he's in a honestly Sauber, Haas, hell, even Williams, if it comes down to it, since Sainz will probably sign with Alpine in my book. I think Ricciardo could still have it, but it's going to be tough because Bottas is on the market too, and he's Valtteri Bottas. He's very
Valtteri
good.
Bottas.
Yeah, he's very good. But speaking of Mercedes, will Mercedes ever obtain Verstappen services? No. Not for the foreseeable future. I think Toto should focus on improving his car. Love Toto, but
Definitely,
he
they've
needs
lost
to.
some. They've lost
Yeah,
something along the last year or two has just not gone their way.
yeah. And Hamilton leaving, you want to replace him with someone good, Max, sure, but I mean, it's like asking Jeff Gordon to leave Hendrick Motorsports or hell,
They've got
Lance Armstrong leaving drugs. It's very difficult. But
And the
I,
thing is, though, you have to think about, like, Lewis Hamilton, is he having that Jimmy Johnson post, 2016?
it's the curse
Is
of
he in that
seven.
state?
Tom
Is
Brady,
he
Jimmy
in
Johnson.
that stage of his career?
Yeah, I think he is. I love Lewis. I think he's one of the greatest of all time. But curse of seven, we saw it with Brady, we saw it with Johnson, we saw it with Dale, we saw it with the King. Uh, we did see it for Valentino Rossi, but he somehow managed to get it out there. But yeah, no, it's definitely difficult. That curse of seven is very, very interesting. But yeah, no, it was just bad luck for Dale Senior. Um, but he had definitely before that he had some troubles with consistent finishes, and then the King just fell off a
Last
cliff after a few
decade.
years. Yeah, it was very bad. But yeah, I mean, I think he's in that stage, but I think still win. He still has speed. He's Lewis Hamilton. It's for like Fernando Alonso. They're not gonna that talent that they have. They're never gonna lose it. Fernando could race until he's 50 and he could still probably have a chance to win if he has the car underneath him.
He can go as long as he
But yeah,
wants.
yeah. But for Mercedes, is Kimi Antonelli really ready for F1? I don't know. We had controversy with Herta trying
Oh
to get
yeah,
in and not getting. Yeah,
that's the
that's the
17-year-old
point I was
that's
gonna
getting
do.
his super license.
Yeah, and he's not even what top 5 in F2 right now. He has great speed. He's great
Oh
talent, but
man, we could literally do a
I
whole episode on the whole Andretti and F1 fallout.
yeah no we will we hope to have some very intriguing things about that coming up soon. But I just feel like he is not ready. Like yeah, you can put him in whatever, but I would advise not to.
The
At least for 1
consistency would
year.
just be off the charts. Like it would just be such a bell curve from track
Yeah,
to
no,
track.
it's not the same series that Verstappen came in at 17 and was
And it's just one
instantly
of those
great.
things. Like if you're stepping into a guy like Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen's shoes, like those are giant expectations. And we've
Yeah,
seen it a lot, in motorsports history. Like it just doesn't happen. Like you just fail to meet those expectations, and maybe it's part of the media's fault for putting them so high, and then some of it's on the team and the driver themselves.
yeah, the PR team must be going crazy. That's for sure. It's definitely interesting. I do find it a little bit hypocritical that they didn't make an exception for Herta and they made one or they essentially pretty much laid it on a platter for Kimmy, but he's a great kid. He's got talent. It's just I think he needs another year in F2 just to get his bearings right and
Shake the
not be
jitters
rushed.
away.
Yeah, you don't want to end up like Logan Sargeant or
yeah.
yeah, you don't want to end up like that. So or Latifi per se. Love both of them, Williams legends. But yeah, Ollie Behrman to Haas, it's pretty much been the rumor for the past 2 months, I think, after that Ferrari start. I think great signing for him, for both parties, honestly. Behrman gets to develop in a Ferrari engine, and Haas gets to develop with a young driver until Lewis eventually leaves Ferrari and retires, and you know Behrman gets to pair with Leclerc. Um, yeah, I think it's a good move. Who will they pair with him? Who's to say right now? It's gonna be interesting because
Danny Rick is an option.
Danny Rick's an option.
For
Bottas would
Haas,
be I think Bottas would be a great option for Haas. I think.
it's funny you talk about that because I literally saw this kind of conjoins like all the three other sports we talked about: endurance, IndyCar, and F1 together. I saw earlier on X that Magnussen put out statements that saying that he's happy what he's saying about like how other drivers are finding more success and finding more happiness
In
winning
other
big
series.
races like Indy 500 or winning Le Mans. And
Yeah.
so if that does happen where he eventually it's going to be inevitable where he has to leave F1 again, he's most likely going to be going to either two of those series I can see.
Yeah. No, I think he's going IMSA and because his contract's up and he's had some questionable moves in Monaco and other races and especially with his teammate, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think if I had to choose between Magnussen, Danny Rick, and Bottas, I'm picking Valtteri Bottas. Valtteri Bottas with his bum
I
out
mean, they seem
America mullet. Put that shit on
that
there. He is
aside,
fucking ripped.
I think I can see Bottas actually doing better than either two of the Haas drivers right now because we've seen Bottas have the potential to win races and podiums. It's just a matter of getting back up to the top echelon of F1 in
Yeah.
terms of the team.
So, yeah, I think that might be a good point to go ahead and wrap up. just a little bit of final thoughts here. You know, obviously we've got our predictions out for the NASCAR race. Predictions for the F1 race. Obviously, I think we're all going Verstappen.
Well,
Well,
I
I'm gonna
it
say
depends.
Norris.
I think Norris. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think Norris. I think Norris, if he can be perfect, he can get it done.
Yeah,
So
I'm surprised they got the speed.
I'll hop on the Verstappen train. You guys have the Lando Norris train.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cody,
dude.
Cody, what do you think?
Let's not fucking kid ourselves here. We all know who the fuck's gonna win that race. Let's not kid ourselves here. Come on.
Yeah.
I
Guan
mean,
Yu Zhou.
Guan Yu Zhou in a perfect world. Guan Yu Zhou.
Hell no.
We love you, Guan Yu Zhou. Please come on the podcast.
Oh man.
Where's the
No,
show Guan Yu?
seriously.
I'm so sorry.
No, but seriously, we all know who's gonna win that race. I mean, it's,
I don't
Man,
know. It
it's-
was
it's
close
Red
last
Bull's-
week.
It's Red Bull's Playhouse. I mean,
It's Red
it's
Bull's
their home
Playhouse,
track.
but McLaren has the better
Shit.
car now.
F1 is their playoffs. It's been their playoffs ever since damn season.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Well, I don't know. There's gonna be competition this week. I definitely think so.
So
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
But
Yeah.
So definitely some food for thought there. Split opinions with the podcast between Verstappen and Norris. Obviously, our NASCAR predictions. You know, looks like we're going. Max was going with Ryan Blaney. We had Ross Chastain / Kyle Larson for Cody, and Leander had somebody.
Tyler Reddick.
Tyler
Yeah.
Reddick, that's right.
Yeah, I just had to be different, Rob. I
he
just
had
had to be
Tyler
different.
Reddick, and I had Chase Elliott. So there's that. We just want to thank again our sponsor, Victory Fuel, for being such a great supporter of our podcast and helping us get off our feet. You know, we really appreciate everything that they've done for us so far and will continue to do for us. Don't forget to use their promo code APEX10. Saves you 10% on your order. But for myself, Leander, Max, and Cody, this is Rob. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep. See you guys.
See you guys.
Damn it! I was trying to say mine. My mic was muted. Damn it!
Oh, no, okay. No. Record that. So like you can say like.